of artificial intelligence are independent of human beings and are just done recursively by the artificial intelligence themselves, that that is going to be an incredible gaslighting tool for people and groups who want to convince us that their judgment is better than our judgment and they have the true alternative. And let's go to the next slide. Okay, so recently I've become enamored with a different LLM, large language model called Gemini. It seems to me the best I've seen. And so I'm going to attempt to use Gemini to help us find a way to test our own judgments and beliefs or those of others for logic and rationality. The goal is I want to give us a way to get beyond the bull and get closer to the truth when it comes to opinions and to beliefs. Okay, go to the next one. First, I'm going to state a set of beliefs about the most likely future of AI and humanity. I'll then use the tools I'm discussing to test one belief. Actually, it should say opinion, but we'll talk about that in a second, and see whether I can bring it closer to the truth. Okay, so that's so. Anybody have any questions, comments, or anything about what I've said in the first three slides? Okay, what?
I do have a comment.
Okay.
In, I believe it's Finland, this is part of the curriculum. They teach people to distinguish truth from fiction on the internet.
What a smart, slightly frozen group of people.
They're smart in many ways. They're one of the few countries that actually has a futurism program that actually values that kind of thinking and insight.
I think their basic philosophical premise in Finland is to teach phenomenology as a core belief system, which is from there they can work out to everything that, including the scientific method, of course.
Well, I think that it makes me sad for my own education. And what I can tell you is at age 77, trying to become a really decent critical thinker is going to be a tough kind of curriculum to slog through. But I don't see that we have any choice because it is possible that there won't be anything else for us to do, and we might be living a very long time. My grandparents all died before they were 67. My parents died at 94 and 95. If that same increment of age accrues to me, I'll be well into my 120s by the time I pass away, and my grandkids will be in their 160s. So, and I'm not telling you that's going to happen, but it's interesting to note. Okay, we'll go to part one. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Bob.
Okay, part one, go to the next slide. Okay, the most likely future of AI and humanity. It's not like I know, okay? This is just my opinion. It is possible that other people have other opinions. So after we get through part one, we can discuss it. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is very interesting, okay? Unfortunately, you're not going to see this, okay? But I looked at this and I said, oh my God, this is one sentence. I just wrote a blurb that it's like, what do you think? 60, 65 words, and it's one sentence, okay? even I have learned that that's not good. Okay. Okay. So I went into Gemini and I said, read this, okay, and make it have the same exact meaning, okay, but split it up into different sentences and give me better language, okay. It took about 1 second, okay, and it came through with 2 paragraphs and 5 sentences that express what I'm about to read better than I could possibly do it myself. Just to let us know, and that's now. That's now, okay? It may get better. It's possible. I think it's getting better. Okay. So here's what I think. Here's my opinion. Democracies exist as a temporary project. And no matter how you structure the legislature, laws, rules, norms, and institutions, the power hungry, I've got a slide later about the 0.00001, who want to control, will find ways to niggle at the edges of the structural institutions there to protect democracy until they find the pillars that hold up the house of cards and flip a weakening democracy into an autocracy, dictatorship, monarchy, or corptocracy. I wrote that. Okay, me, Bob Kaufman, wrote that sentence and actually accepted it as being worthwhile until I reviewed it. Okay, so it is possible that I need help. We can go to the next slide. Okay,
Can you read us the way that the
I can't. I can.
AI wrote it for you, rewrote it for you?
I might be able to do that. Would you guys like that?
Yes.
I think it's a perfectly regular sentence.
Yeah, I understood it.
Here's what it wrote. Okay.
Fine.
Democracies are essentially temporary projects. Period. Regardless of how you structure the legislature, laws, and institutions, power-hungry individuals and groups will always seek total control. End of paragraph. New paragraph. These actors will constantly gnaw at the edges of the systems designed to protect democratic norms, period. Eventually, they identify the pillars holding up the house of cards, period. Once they are found, they flip the weakening democracy into an autocratic dictatorship, period. Which ones did you guys think was better?
The second one.
By how much?
How do you measure?
Significantly?
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, let me go back to my Zoom meeting here. Okay, go to the next slide. Okay, the nature of the human animal is fighting against, no, is that the next slide?
Go back. No.
Yeah, there's ample evidence supporting this belief, although there's minor historical outliers. The Republic of Marino, 1700 years, and Republic of Venice, 1100 years, the Roman Republic, 482 years, the old Swiss Confederacy, whatever the hell that is, 507 years, and the United States at how many years?
250.
250.
This
Okay.
year.
Okay.
It's time to change our diaper.
Yes. Okay. Go to the next one.
I learned a
Things
long
move a lot
time ago.
faster these days. So
I
Well,
learned
what's
a long
that?
time ago
Things
that
move
the
a lot.
average lifetime of a nation state is about 200 years.
Yeah. Wow. The nature, if you believe differently, the nature, if you think it can last longer, generally, the nature of the human animal is fighting against you. Go to the next slide. Humanity is hierarchical, and at the top of the human tribe, whether it be small, large, nationwide, or global, will sit an alpha, the leader of the pack. Go to the next. Go to the next slide. The alphas eventually get control and use human weakness as a wedge to increase and maintain power. Most people are not strong. They're not strong intellectually, emotionally, and if you believe in such a thing, spiritually. Next slide. And we're certainly not strong morally. Next slide. The powerful players and groups who eventually gain control are not overflowing with empathy or compassion, nor are they concerned with sharing the world's abundance if it grows as I expect. They never have been, are not now, and will not be. Do not expect it. This comes from my favorite philosopher, George Carlin. Do not expect it. It's not likely to come this way. Next slide. Pushing the alpha out of a power position is never easy, and the larger the group, the harder the effort is to dislodge the alpha. Next slide. Not all alphas are sociopaths. Now more popularly called a malignant narcissist. However, eventually a sociopath will capture the flag. Next. You can fight back. You can fight to take back control and may win temporarily. But history indicates that the victory, although important, will be only short or medium term. Next slide. AI is a tool that I believe will help the power mad gain and maintain an even deeper toehold on our minds and our bodies. Next. If AI gains super capabilities but does not lead to the extinction of humanity, the development of AI will likely cause much suffering for humanity because humans are not prepared intellectually or psychologically to adjust to the pace at which AI is developing, if at all. Next. Very few humans will be able to determine what is true or even close to true in an AI-driven future world. Next. Next. It's happening right now in front of us. Okay. Next is a graph. Okay. Next slide. This comes from a place called Forbes. I don't know where they got it, but it shows the percentage of national income, the percentage of wealth relative to national income. That means GDP, I think. Okay, the percentage of wealth that the top 0.00001% of households held in 1950 traces it through the Roaring '20s, traces it back down through the Depression. We have a flat period for a long period of time. And then look what's happening over the last 50 years and what's happening over the last decade. Okay? It's happening right in front of us. Next slide. Next slide. It's not AI that is most likely to, I put subjugate humanity, but I would say it's not AI that's most likely to bring about our existential demise. It's humans committing species level hara-kiri. Okay? Consider how humans, meaning us, might gain meaning and joy in a world where one, labor has little value, two, relative abundance is limited, three, their power to enact change is minimal. I'm not saying this future is certain, but it seems more likely that the promises of the shared abundance that we hear from better than all the promises we hear from the AI titans about how everybody will have a high level of income and a high level of abundance. Next slide.
But wait.
Okay.
I am not sure that is the future.
I am not sure either, but let's discuss it.
It looks like status quo at the moment. I'm sorry, Bob. It's not.
Okay, let's discuss it when there's not many more slides.
Okay.
I'm not sure either. Okay.
Okay.
In other words, you think it's the present. Okay. Yes.
Well,
Okay, that's
could
fine.
I make a comment?
Let's go to the next slide. Okay. It is my assertion that one of the best ways to survive the onslaught of AI-driven lies and absurdities is paradoxically to use AI to check our biases at the door and at least have a path to getting closer to the truth. Next slide. I'm going to show you how using AI, presently Gemini from Google, can help us think more critically about the rectitude. Rectitude. I use the word rectitude. Okay. The rectitude of our beliefs, core or otherwise. Next slide. I think we're almost there. We're on this last one. It won't stop the power mad from using IA to take total control, but it might fend them off a bit and help us stay sane amid insanity. I'm open to questions or comments.
David's first.
My comment is that it probably makes it easier for us to understand, Bob, if you think of this as presenting a scenario for our consideration of the future.
I agree. I agree, David, that this is
Just,
harder to understand. And as I was doing it, I'm saying this could be much better if I had time and tools to make it much better and the imagination to create a scenario. I think I probably have that.
well,
But
I think the scenario is that AI is what you're presenting. This is just one possible scenario, and you've done a nice job of explaining some of your assumptions.
yes, that's what I wanted to do. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, I think I'm next.
Okay.
I wanted to comment a couple things, I guess. One is the alphas you're talking about. The alphas in this case are not necessarily smarter or more talented or more accomplished. They're just more greedy. They're the ones who most desire wealth and power. Those are the ones that rise to the top
I agree.
as far as having wealth and power.
Yes. But the richest man in the world is who?
Elon
It
Musk right
alternates
now.
between.
As far as we know, it's Elon Musk.
Yeah, it appears that right now it's Elon Musk. Do we think that Elon Musk is actually very smart?
I don't know. He's good at hiring smart people around him.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I bet there's people in this group who think he's very, very smart, and we don't need to actually argue that anyway. But I think you are right that the it's not really intelligence that that it creates an alpha. Some intelligence is certainly necessary, but it takes the desire to be the alpha. So,
I think Larry
My
Ellison from Moore.
my other
Larry-
comment.
okay.
My other comment is that it's been mathematically proven that free market capitalism, which we don't exactly have,
No.
produces that curve that you just showed us. That the rich will get richer and the poor get poorer. Mathematically, it's just the way the economy works when it's free market capitalism.
And so what I'm saying,
Sorry.
Tom, is that I do believe that free market capitalism does generate that curve. Okay. But it's not the only thing in and of itself that generates that curve. It also takes a small group of people who really enjoy being at that last yellow dot. Okay, and that no matter whether you start with socialism, start with communism, start on a kibbutz or wherever, whatever you're going to do, okay, it ends up eventually at some point in time with a small amount of people who are who maintain that yellow dot, and that yellow dot the more that yellow dot gets extended, the riskier it is for the masses down below, and that artificial intelligence is going to be a tool that can be used by anybody to do good things and bad things, and that a certain amount of people will sell the good, okay? They will sell the good, but they really want control and power.
Now,
And that's their main concern, not the good. I
now to
don't
the
I don't think it's in human nature for people to also want power and want good for the community at the same time, though they will talk that game. But I don't
So do you
think,
think it's more a result of the elite
Eric,
knowing
please
what they're
raise your
doing?
hand.
say it again, Eric.
Yeah, is it more of a result of the elite knowing what they're doing, or is it a result of the system? Which you attribute more? Is it the system going that way, or is it the
Yeah.
conscious effort on the elite?
I think it's nice to have someone who knows what they're doing. Okay. But I think that that's not what drives this. Okay. We don't actually live in a meritocracy anyway. Okay. But it is nice that some people have expertise in certain areas and can use that expertise to do things. What I'm saying is there are a certain number of people who are going to want to use whatever expertise and power that they have to gain and maintain control. And they will eventually find a way to win the game. And I'm saying that's my opinion. Okay. Yeah, and that it doesn't matter how long it takes, they'll find a way. Okay. So, okay.
The Mr. Host is next.
Who? Who?
The host.
Oh, Poole? Warren Poole?
No.
No.
Stan.
Stan. Okay.
It seems that a lot of what we see going on in the news and a lot we see going on in politics is a propaganda war. Everybody has their axe to grind. The point I wanted to make is that I think that after Elon Musk got himself Twitter and then converted it to X, he was wanting to make sure that his comments and his thinking on the X platform got high ranking. And so he had his guys at the X, they rigged the numbers on his comments so it got a times 1,000. So everybody else would be at a certain ranking in their conversation, but Elon's comments got a times 1,000, so they kind of always went to the top.
What makes you think that's true?
I can do a search for it.
Yeah.
That information.
Yeah, I don't know that it's true, but it certainly does fit with my hypothesis.
And
Hi, Eric. Good to see you.
the other relatively rich person besides Elon is Larry Ellison with Oracle. I would say that Larry was kind of critical to his power, is that he provided the CIA with its first intelligence database. And then I think that what's happened since the CIA was marrying its database with computing was Palantir, which has also married the Department of Defense with AI.
Again, my hypothesis.
Carol, you're next.
Okay. There is a book I have been pushing on you guys for a long time. It's called The Moral Molecule. And the author is Paul Zak, Z-A-K. And essentially what this book, which is about lots of scientific experiments, says is that there is a mutation in the human genome such that approximately 2.5% of children born are incapable of empathy. They do not feel empathy for other people.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And and they are literally born this way. It's a mutation in the genome such that their oxytocin receptors don't work right. Then added to this is another 2.5% of adult people whose oxytocin receptor mechanisms have been destroyed by there's a couple of things that will usually do it. One of them is an extremely difficult, battered childhood. And the other is taking certain methamphetamine drugs. Both of those things will tend to produce a person who was born with empathy, but no longer is capable of feeling it. Now, I think these power mad alphas that you're talking about will be in this 5% of the population.
I agree.
By the way, the population in our prisons is 40% these people. There's an enormous concentration of people with no empathy who have ended up in our prisons.
Mhm.
That's the stupid ones. The smart ones tend to be running things. But there have been some fascinating experiments done with specially bred mice who have been bred to either express or not express this ability to feel empathy. And you can radically change the behavior of these mice around other mice by splicing in the gene that they need to feel empathy. And all of a sudden they're behaving like normal mice. They mate, they have friends, all the good stuff. And if you knock that gene out, they go right back to being sociopaths. We are right on the edge, given the the capabilities for genetic manipulation that we have. We are right on the edge of being able to test a baby at birth and say, oh my God, he's one of the ones with no empathy, and fix it. I think that would do the most incredible thing to the human civilization.
Wow. Okay.
Mm,
We can do it now with mice,
Yes.
the rulers could also use genetic engineering to make us more docile too, and easier to con, more submissive.
I would imagine we're going to be able to do a lot of stuff with genetic engineering that may make it may affect humanity greatly. And I think it's good that you brought this up. I cannot imagine my wife or I allowing our daughter to be altered genetically because of a prenatal test of some sort. But it could happen, I suppose. But
Well, if you had a child with a genetic disease, sickle cell anemia, Tay-Sachs, something like that, and
yeah,
there was a fix for it, wouldn't you have them fixed?
See?
And you can think of this as a genetic disease.
Okay. I suppose you could.
It's already being done.
Yep, successfully by the tech elite.
Could whoever said it's already being done elaborate?
Just some information that I've read in different books and everything, and that it's been used mostly with issues of disease and that kind of thing. And it's just really changed. I mean, there was actually a story, I think it was on 60 Minutes or one of those programs, that went through and explained, what they're doing and that it's already starting to happen.
Yeah, don't take the pop media too seriously. They spin everything so much and it's so superficial. Just research people and know what they're actually doing it. Like Stephen Shu with the presentation I gave there. Research what his podcasts, and he's running one of the companies doing it. Though they don't, for certain reasons, aren't yet selecting for intelligence. They have already produced kids with reduced risk of cancer, heart disease, and so on. And and some are sometimes they have to go to Central America to get it done, but I don't know what the Chinese are doing. The Asians are much more amenable to eugenics because they didn't go through the whiplash after the Holocaust. We went to the extreme. Hitler believed in genetics, therefore we got to ban genetics and stop believing in genetics. Everything's got to be environment by dogma. So that's where we are, but they never went through that. So they're much more amenable to eugenics, and I'm sure they'll be implementing it as it becomes available.
Okay, Barb is next. This isn't a free-for-all, so let's try to take it in order of hands being raised.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. This is Barbara. Anyway, so I originally put my hand up because I was wanting to get clear on what Bob is calling the alpha person. Is it the greediest people? Is it the people that have the best interest of people at heart? What is the purpose or the definition of how you're using the term alpha? But before you answer that, I want to just also ask Carol, or bring this up about Carol's The Moral Molecule. I think that's a great premise. But if we have the alphas, and the alphas are the people who are sociopaths in charge, do you think that they're going to want to breed or fix the people who have no empathy and breed them out of our population? Or do you think they're going to want to keep them in our population so that those people can support them as they move up in their alphaness?
Okay, so you're talking about the parents of a child born this way?
No, I'm talking about the people in charge of government. The alpha people who you're talking about are the mega wealthy, who are the mega maniacal, and whatever else is undesirable that I believe Bob is pointing to with his comment. Or maybe Bob could answer my question about the alpha.
Okay. So, Barb, thank you for the question. It's not necessarily what they're greedy for is power. Okay. Not necessarily money, but money brings power. They want power.
Right. But so why would they want to encourage anyone to fix the peoples whose DNA do not show empathy? Why would they want that? They would want to.
Well, that's a good question. I can think of a reason, Barbara.
Okay.
The reason is they don't want the competition.
Yes.
Okay. Think for just a second that we get to a place where if you have enough wealth, you can live a very long time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you are in the state of mind that you are the emperor supreme. Okay. And you want to remain the emperor supreme. Okay. And there is genetic engineering that is robust. Are you going to use that genetic engineering to help everyone, or are you going to use it to help your family? Are you going to use that genetic engineering to damp down the people who might compete with you, or to enhance the people who are part of your nest or family or small tribe that maintains control? We're getting into science fiction here, but I can see that could be the case.
I hear you, but so you're basically saying that the people with empathy are the non-alphas and the
Right.
people without empathy are, and the alphas don't want competition. Okay, I get it.
And
But
Bob, I'm not saying that all alphas are sociopaths. Okay,
okay,
have no empathy, but
okay.
a certain number do. Okay, and those alphas, I'm just using that as a catch-all term, but those alphas are the ones who eventually will try to find ways to niggle at the edges of freedoms and civil rights and anything that gives other people power, and aggregate and maintain as much power as they can themselves. And they don't do it because they're evil. We just call them evil because it makes us feel good to have a term called evil. They do it because that's their nature.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Is
Thank
that
you.
okay? Good. Okay.
Each time, go ahead.
The alpha is the one writing the original to put in the Xerox machine. Let me explain that.
Thank you.
Back long time ago, I was an actual card-carrying AP reporter. Didn't do much with it actually, but that was needed so I could, if I had my AP press card, I could get into things to listen and make reports. I noticed a change. When I first went to these meetings, city council meetings in Lansing, Michigan, there would be 20 or 25 reporters and one politician and 2 or 3 assistants, and the politician would answer questions and people would write notes and we would all go away. Over the course of 3 years, one of the assistants was replaced by a Xerox machine who provided a handout. The other assistant provided a handout of what the politician wanted to say. Questions were few and were basically, I would say not answered, but there were answers, but the answers were circular. Didn't really say anything. Eventually, the politician wasn't there. The press conference was a lineup of reporters taking the 2-page handout from the Xerox machine and going away. And at the time, I actually thought it was an improvement because listening to the politician mumble and bumble and misdirect and misunderstand was a real waste of time. But he at least had to stand up there and pretend to take questions. But with the Xerox machine, that was a waste of his time. Or her time. They were mostly hymns then. The alpha, my first thought was the alpha is the person putting the original on the Xerox machine, but that's not true. He has someone to do that for him. But he wrote the message to put into the Xerox machine. It's a one-way communication. I'm done.
Thank you.
David,
At this rate, it's going to be a long day. But there's nothing wrong with that. Bob, do you want to continue this presentation next week?
Next week, no, but I could do it. I could do it after.
it's not even 11. What's the problem, David?
I know how much Bob has planned in his
Yeah, but
presentation.
I'm not going to
Oh.
go over the. I'm not good. The reason I have so much, David, is that I had it anyway, and it's going to go out to everybody so they can read it themselves. But we're not. We will get done in an hour and 15 minutes from where I am right now.
Okay.
Okay, but thank you.
Dan,
Well, to show you that I have a balanced opinion of Elon Musk, actually owns Tesla stock, is that when he was doing what I thought he should be doing, making good cars, on the floor, he would kind of keep the hierarchy of supervision down to as low of a set of levels as possible, because all of the workers in the plant had a screen next to their workstation with AI facilitating their work. And it turned out to be a very important key to why his workers were more efficient, because they had a very quick flow of information on how to solve problems. Now, the other thing I want to say, that's point one. Point two, in philosophy, you talk about run-on sentences, Bob. Try reading Kant's Critique of Pure Reason. I was actually told by my professors when I was taking the class not to read Kant's Critique of Pure Reason because of the 2-page run-on sentences, and that you're better off reading someone else's, like a Walter Kaufman or some other interpreter of that type of book. But the one thing I want to But the thing about ethics is that there's two concepts within ethics. There's the teleological version and the deontological version, okay? The deontological version is that doing something like spanking a child is kind of harsh punishment, but spanking the child to achieve another end down the road is worthwhile. And that's where I think this empathy discussion from Carol is challenging, because having empathy doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be sympathy to the point of allowing someone to do something that they should be somehow more disciplined about their life. And I think that that's what makes this issue kind of complicated, is because just being, in quotes, sympathetic doesn't always mean that I mean, I'm not a parent, and I don't know this as well as some of you that are parents, but you all have struggled with the idea of what do they allow the creativity of their children to become, versus when do they toe the line, grow up, and have a parental attitude, kind of thing.
Okay. Should we go on? Is there more, or should we go on?
Eric has his hand up.
Okay.
Just a little interjection that try reading stuff like that in the original German, where you don't do the verb until the very end of the 200-word sentences full of after many modifying adjectival phrases and stuff.
German students were asking American students on Hegel if it was Hegel was easier to understand in English than he was in German.
Yeah, it probably is.
But Kant did distinguish between a priori and a posteriori reasoning, which is important.
Okay,
Well,
I'm gonna kill myself. Let's go on. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a big Kant fan.
Okay. I'm incontinent. Okay. Let's go on. Let's go on. Okay. Next slide.
Well, I got to get you started. I got to share again.
Okay.
Dan,
Yeah.
can you do it as a presentation without the right-hand column?
It's okay. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. We can see it. Everybody can see it, I think. Okay.
Well,
So next is going to be definitions. We'll go through them quickly. Okay. We should go up. We should go down. There you go. Okay. So a bunch of definitions that I thought were important because I think that artificial intelligence is so confusing. And so this is how I make it work for me. Okay, go. Artificial, this is all from Gemini. I'll tell you what, we don't even have to go through this. It's going to be in when they send out the information. This is, or even on the link that was sent. This is all going to be here, but it gives you what Gemini or I think are artificial. Let's go to the next one. We'll do this quickly. 438 words. Thank you. Intelligence. What is intelligence? Next. What is knowledge? What is understanding? What is the skill set? These are important things to understand. Next. A general term. What is artificial intelligence? Okay. What is narrow intelligence? What is, go to the next one. So this is one of the hardest ones here. This one, artificial general intelligence. Okay. So I'm just going to read it because I'm sure there'll be people who disagree with this, but this is how I understand it. AI can understand a broad expanse of subject areas along with related real-world skill sets necessary to be effective in performing tasks and making decisions in a broad expanse of subject areas. Number two, when AI lacks understanding or skill sets in any area, if it has artificial general intelligence, it will be able to gain what is necessary quickly to become extraordinarily effective. It may eventually become very, very quickly. And then last and most importantly, it can integrate its expertise in different subject areas to become wiser and more creative overall, and finding new ways to solve existing problems, define and solve new issues, and unleash new opportunities in areas that have never been considered by humanity. If we get to that point, okay, I'm pretty sure that the next step is going to be super intelligence very quickly. Does anyone want to discuss that definition?
Take it.
Eric,
Yeah, the definition could be anything you want. They're arbitrary, but what is important to me is what's most useful. I think I came to the best abstract definition of intelligence I ever heard. It's simply goal attainment potential for given resources within a given system. And
No, I meant general intelligence. You wanted to.
that says the general, most abstract definition of general intelligence would be, in other words, the proof is in the pudding. The goal attainment potential for given resources as the entity. If every system has to start with certain undefined terms, like
So no matter what you want to do, you can get it done.
yeah, the most effective. But to do that, you quickly realize that you have to define the resources, the agent, fully, what the capacity of interaction of effectors and inputs and effectors, sensors and effectors, and of the agent you're talking about being intelligent, and the system within which it's acting. Those have to be somewhat defined.
I'm just trying to make it work for a poor putz like me who's just trying to understand
That's
where we're going. But I don't think you're wrong. Okay.
It's just
You're
a little more
obviously.
abstract, and it has to be mathematically provable. You'd have to have provable within. You have to define your system and then model it.
Yeah, the proof. The
A
proof.
game of life is the easiest way I've found to think about evolution and these things. Just think
So
about
the
the game
proof
of
will be
life.
in the pudding, right? The
Yeah,
proof
think
will
about
be
the
in
game of life. It's so simple, like 3 rules.
Oh, yes.
And you can potentially, by modifying the rules and
Okay.
and so on, and the topography. What is it? The word
Okay, we'll go on.
Topology.
We'll go on,
of
Eric.
the board in any mathematical way you want, but start with a simple rectangle, little, divided into little cells and that change color according to whatever rules you want, and then see how do those things change according to the rules. I know it's very abstract and away from people, but that's the easiest way to think about it to start.
Thank you, Eric.
Uh,
Stan, did you want to say something?
Well, I have a Zoom question.
Okay,
I don't have a handle for raising my hand while
I know.
I'm presenting.
I know.
Does anybody know if there's a way to get to raise the hand raiser while I'm doing a present while I'm
I don't know.
Well, not, I don't think you can while you're sharing.
Yeah, I don't think so.
all right. Um,
But if you just
all,
raise
all
your
I,
hand
all I
like
want
you
to say
did,
about this, all I want to say about this is that AI, if you listen to someone like Demis Habbessis, who was a hardcore gamer, chess player, and so forth, they actually have done expertise level of narrow AI to solve folding problems, to solve problems with plasma and fusion reactors and so forth. And I think if you were to do enough of these narrow AIs until where you have damn near the entire universe of narrowness kind of confined into a specific silo, you can maybe then join all those together and have something like a general AI, or else to be able to cross between all of those narrow AIs to have a general AI, which would be someone like you would say a polymath, someone who, like I had a professor when I was in school who had a doctoral in philosophy, a doctoral in engineering, and a doctoral in psychology. If you have that kind of a person who, like not von Neumann, or Richard Feynman type person, although he was not very good at humanities and art, that idea of having some kind of crossing all those silos, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say is general AI is going to be able to be that way.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
David.
David?
yeah. I just got an email today, or the last week, where they're talking about something like Facebook for AI agents to discuss, and they aren't even allowing people to participate.
That's a great idea, David. Okay. Yeah, wow. Okay.
It's called Multbook.
Yeah.
It's already being done as a exercise, and I can, I may be able to forward that email to anyone who's interested.
Yeah,
But it's MOLTBOOK.
I'm interested. Thank you,
Okay.
David.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, next slide. What do I say? AGI is just, so to me, artificial superintelligence is just AGI that can improve its own programming independently. When do I think this will happen? I have no idea when this will happen. Dennis Hassabis thinks it could be 10 to 20 years, but he doesn't really know. Okay.
I think it's already happening. That's how Google's Go Player was programmed.
Well, okay. AI, that's not what Dennis Hassabis thinks, and he's in charge of Google's stuff. But anyway, okay, AI embodied robots are going to be important. It's just robots integrated with AI. Next one is humans are going to get integrated with AI. Okay, next one is Real world models. This is they're going to be very important. If anybody wants it, they should just go look at a about a 25-minute interview with Jan LeCun, where he talks about this and a number of different issues, including real world models. He's really quite brilliant, this guy, and he'll talk to you about it. Next one. The singularity, okay? So the reason I even joined Futurist Group and became interested in it is this book called The Singularity is Near, okay? I read this book and it kind of blew my mind. I'm not so sure that we're not already in some kind of singularity, and I'm not so sure that just understanding it in a general sense is going to give me any real comfort with it. I think we're already at a place where we can't keep track of the rate of change that's taking place. We can't adapt to it intellectually. We can't adapt to it psychologically. We have no idea what the world is going to be like 6 months from now, and certainly not 6 years from now. It's all, to me, already beyond our control. But there might be some people controlling it. I think the people who are controlling it, for the most part, don't actually understand what they're trying to control. I don't know if I feel that way about Dennis Hassabis or Jan LeCun or Jeffrey Hinton, but I think it's getting. I do think it's escaping us. So next, critical thinking is it? So this is a description from Gemini. Gemini, describe critical thinking. I will, thank you. Critical thinking is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, synthesizing, and evaluating information to reach a reasoned judgment. At its core, it is thinking about thinking, the ability to monitor your own thought processes to ensure they are fair, accurate, and evidence-based rather than driven by emotion or bias. And hopefully be able to do that without having to run scientific projects yourself. But I think I think that it's possible that we'll have two things left for ourselves. We can become people who just get stupider, but enjoy the moment, or people who try to understand what's happening and try to enjoy the moment. And I think we're already being split into those people now. It'd be more so. What do you have, Eric?
It reminds me of the futurist cartoon where everybody has a head in a jar.
The what? Say it again.
There was a cartoon, the same cartoonist that did The Simpsons did another futurist, Futura, I think it's where everybody was a head in a jar.
Yeah.
Okay, then I have
David's next.
Oh, David, okay.
I suspect that the spectrum, that there's two extremes with a whole array of possibilities in between.
Yes, there are. Yeah, there are. This is just just what I think may happen, and I think it's most likely to happen. This is not what's going to happen. Okay, who knows what's going to happen?
Mhm.
This is where my brain is at. Okay. Next. Oh, we don't have to do that. We can go to the next one. Facing the same circle. Okay, we'll go to 3. Okay.
Well, before that, maybe H. Tom's hand was up.
Okay, H-Town.
Oh, I was wanting to say that you should not, in my opinion, you should not exclude emotion and biases but you should be careful to label them as such.
Yeah.
People have trouble distinguishing.
Yes, but the problem with setting things out is that sometimes the important thing is the emotion or the bias. And so you have to.
In an attempt to agree with that, agreeing with that, I'm going to say that your emotion and your passion directs your reason, because reason is, in my opinion, this is my philosophy, I guess, is that reason is the servant of your emotion and your desires. You know, I think that one of the most interesting things that I learned when I was in school is what we would call, Fred Hallberg, my professor that had the doctoral in psychology, engineering, and philosophy. Soft determinism for him was to say, if my desires had been different, I could have done otherwise. This is the free will question.
Yeah.
If my desires had been different, I could have done otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree that those chemical processes that we have are important, and that's something that, as far as I can see, to the future so far, that AI will never have. But that doesn't mean that humans are subservient to our emotions necessarily. That's an important part of us, but that doesn't necessarily determine what we think, or it has an influence certainly, but it's complicated, as David would like to say, and
Tom,
that's a complication.
Tom, what do you think?
Complication that AI doesn't have.
Tom, what do you think determines how we think, or what we think?
As I said, it's a combination of our chemistry and our logical thought processes, and it's hard to distinguish between the two sometimes. But I think it would be instructive for us to try to think critically about how we think.
I agree. I agree with that. Do you think that that AI could become a tool to control what we think, what we believe, our attitudes, our opinions?
Well, I think to some extent it is controlling us now. I mean, people are slaves to their phones, and they don't do any thinking on their own anymore, and that's getting more and more prevalent.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody?
I like to propose that maybe my next presentation is going to be on the microbiome.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing a lot of research. I've been doing a deep dive recently on the gut-brain connection. And I see that there is another, I mean, there was back in 2000 or so, 2000 to 2003, there was a lot of research done on the human genome, and discovering all about the genetics of the humans. And I remember that you had people like the guy from La Jolla, Craig Venter,
Yes.
going on about how you would be able to have personalized medicine. You would be able to get a kind of a map of your body or your genome, and that and all that. But the next thing that's coming up alongside of that is the biome and the bacteria that you have in your body and your gut. Some people say that there's 10 bacteria. There's 10 bacteria for every cell in your body, and your gut has got this vagus nerve that's connecting up to your brain. And so I think that it's possible that you can't really just use a simple. I think that this emotion and reason kind of thing is maybe analogous. There's a metaphor going on between the biome And that idea of with your gut, you have a gut feeling. You have 80% of that. The traffic on the vagus nerve is 80% coming up from the gut and 20% coming down from the brain, approximately. So, and I think
Who said that?
I can do a presentation on this. I have all kinds.
But there is some reason to believe that's true.
Yes,
Mhm.
there's evidence for that. It's kind of newer. I mean, the whole discussion about there's a Zoe test, Zoe test that you can do to try to get a map of your genome or your biome. And they have tried to find the 50, I'm going to call them villain bacteria and the 50 hero bacteria, and then find out where you are on that map of 50 and 50. And then you can figure out which ones to nurture and which ones not to nurture and so forth. But it's newer. This is not nearly as well developed as the genetic side of things are. But I think biome health and wellness is definitely a part of the future. And I think I'm convinced of that anyway.
I think that's true.
Eric,
And as you say, it's worthy of a subsequent presentation and is a distraction from today's
yes,
topic.
Eric.
Yeah, back on still on objective or critical thinking, can you overcome it? As one of my top three favorite science fiction authors, and I haven't read them in a long time, but Paul Anderson said concisely, the intellect is the lackey of the emotions. And as to what Tom was saying, can we really sort of overcome that somehow? I think it is maybe possible because, well, one, everybody has to study Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow and understand it. And he did self-criticism within that. He saw, gives through these systematic weaknesses he's uncovered in human thinking. And he said he himself noticed that he was a victim to that because when he was driving around in Jerusalem at a time when terrorists were blowing up buses frequently, relatively frequently at random, every time he'd pull up next to a bus, he was feeling terrified. Until even then, he overcame that by remembering that the chance of him being blown up at that moment, that minute, of all the minutes that people were by buses and didn't get blown up, it was still pretty minute. So he was irrationally terrified. I'm a little overly terrified of being blown up by a terrorist every time he was near a bus.
You got Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, where he had an internal self that he could use to live by to get through the concentration camp situation.
And he had a reason to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Okay, so we go ahead to now. I'm going to go through. Let's get that back up if you can, Stan. Okay, so I'm just going to talk for just a second about what a genius I am. Okay, so originally I put on a headset because I was going to talk into the headset and give the presentation. Well, the headset didn't work, okay? So I'm using my phone, and I noticed on my phone that the sound from the phone seems very muted. And I just realized 1 hour and 15 minutes into this presentation, it's because I didn't take my headset off, and the headset was causing the muting of the sound. I am a true genius, and I want you to know that. Okay. Okay, so I hope that you get out of this, if we get to it and can really go through it, using AI to help us think more critically. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So it goes through a number of different ways, number of different forms of stupidity. Okay, one is called passive ignorance. not having prior knowledge or understanding how to deal with reality, being part of a cultural or social structure does not allow you to see or recognize contradictory evidence. So let's say that you were in such a situation, okay? Or you thought someone else was in such a situation. What prompt could you give to an AI that might help you gain more insight or overcome your stupidity? Okay, so that's a description of passive income. That's income. I was a passive ignorance. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Bob, would you call those blind spots?
Well, yes, it would be a blind spot. It would be not even knowing enough to know that you're in trouble. Okay, so you could say to your to Gemini but you could say to anything, I am currently avoiding dealing with, name a problem or description, something, anything, a problem. Dealing with, I'm currently avoiding dealing with my weight problem. Okay. I'm telling myself it's not that bad, or it will fix itself. Act as brutally and honest and yet support as a brutally honest yet supportive friend, and list 5 ways this belief will probably blow up in my face. Do not sugarcoat the consequences. Okay. And if you do that, okay, you're going to get a 3 to 7 page compendium of different ways to thinking about your situation. Okay. Give me another situation where you don't actually see that you're running into problems. Your friend is doing something and they don't even see that they're going to have a problem. Can anybody come up with an idea? Anything?
National debt will
Okay.
cause inflation.
Okay, how about personal debt?
That works fine just as well.
Okay, so I'm currently avoiding dealing with, my friend is currently avoiding dealing with debt that's accumulating way too fast. And I'm telling myself it's not that bad, it'll fix itself. Act brutally honest and tell me, as a supportive friend, blah, blah, blah. It'll come back, okay? These are tools that you can use. Debt is a good one. Weight is a good one. Um, uh, um, I'm currently avoiding dealing with the fact that my child will not talk to me. I'm telling myself it's not that bad. It'll fix itself, blah, blah, blah. That's what this is. And what I'm saying to you is, if you go into a good artificial intelligence and let them know who you are, okay, spend some time with them, and then go ahead and give them this prompt, the information you get back, we're going to go through one at the end, okay, is pretty incredible. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Doug's hand is up.
Oh, hi, Doug.
Hey, Bob. I just got to share one with you. The other day, I'm sitting with my wife. We're going through some major medical situations, and we were talking about it. And all of a sudden, in my earpiece, my hearing aid, my phone is saying, that's really too bad that that's going on. What do you think I could do to help you? And I mean, I wasn't, and that was Gemini on my phone, just, listening in. And so, you got, and I thought the phone was basically off and everything, and it all of a sudden was responding. So that was a little bit spooky to have that happen. So
I think that's great.
Yeah,
it was. So you could say to the Gemini, okay, you could say to the Gemini, thank you for inquiring. I'm telling myself it's not really all that bad, or it's fixed itself. Could you act as a brutally honest yet supportive friend in those 5 ways that whatever I'm dealing with could blow up in my face? And don't sugarcoat those consequences. If you say that to them, they'll come back with some stuff that you'll be phenomenal. You'll be impressed with. It'll take you through a kind of a list to see just how much problem you could have and how to deal with it. It may actually ask you while you're doing that, is say, here's a way that it could blow up in your face. Would you like me to tell you some ways that you could deal with that? And if you say yes, it will. Okay. This is a tool that is going to be used to take away our humanity, but it's also a tool that can be used to improve our lives. And so, what I'm saying is, these are some ways that we're going to find it very difficult, and our kids and our grandkids are going to find it more difficult to maintain a sense of balance in the world that is so driven by artificial intelligence. And these are some ways that you can do it. Thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
We have
Okay.
a couple more hands.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody?
Yeah. I guess I'm next.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's willful ignorance or passive ignorance, but there are a lot. Basically, ignorance is when you're depending on the extent. Most ignorant people don't realize what the extent of their ignorance. You
That's
don't know
true.
what you don't know.
Mhm.
And so they don't even, a lot of people are convinced that they know the absolute truth and that'll never change. And that's basically saying, well, I want to remain ignorant. So it, uh, I guess I'm not sure exactly what you mean by passive ignorance, because
Well, let's go back to the definition.
yeah,
One slide. Let's go back to one slide up. Not having the prior knowledge, information, or understanding to deal with reality. Being part of a culture or social structure does not allow you to see or recognize contradictory evidence.
I guess that's what I am talking about then.
Okay.
And for those people, there's I think not much hope, because they don't realize that they're ignorant and don't want to change it.
Well,
What are you going to define as being reality?
well, you're asking me how I'm defining, or it would define reality. That's a whole nother presentation, Stan. I'm sorry, I can't go into that at this time.
Tom.
It's Tom.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to finish with Tom. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I think for this particular form of dealing with ignorance, passive ignorance, you need a friend. Okay. You need somebody who will ask for you and help you, because if you are passively ignorant, you would not really know that you're ignorant. Okay. And so it becomes a more difficult thing, I think. Does anyone want to talk about that? Because I'm not necessarily sure I've done a good job.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying, I guess.
Bob, is that what's going on with politics in our country?
I think there's a lot of ignorance. I don't know how passive it is, but I don't know, Doug.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Oh, wait.
Oh, we have more?
Yeah, Tom is next.
Oh, H.
Then
Tom,
Eric.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I was going to say, especially in regards to current events, there seems to me to be a lot of active ignorance, where people are convinced they know some truth, which I think has no relationship, or only a sisterly kiss relationship to reality.
So let me ask you a question, Tom. Okay. What would be another word for ignorance?
Well,
Stupidity.
it's no, this is ignorance. To me, ignorance is a lack of information. some people seem to have what they think of as actual information, which is false to reality. There are three boxes.
Mhm.
Reality, being ignorant of reality,
Mhm.
and knowing something that is not reality.
Knowing or believing.
So, this is actually brings up something that's interesting for me personally. Okay, so each year we have something called a Passover Seder. Okay, because my parents had the timidity to be Jewish, and so I was raised as a Jew, and my wife, who was raised as a Catholic, like Judaism. So now we have a Passover Seder, and in the Seder we have something called the five questions. Okay, and the five questions take you through a a what should I say? It takes you through a hierarchy of ignorance, okay? And asking and telling you how you should deal with different ignorant questions that people would ask about what happened to Moses and the Jews during the time that they left Egypt and came to Jerusalem and Israel. And I always thought to myself, oh, not again. We're going to, because it always has to be the kids who read this stuff, okay? So, not again, I'm not going to have to go through this. I never really understood that really what they're doing here is they're forcing you to think about to not be stupid, okay?
Mhm.
Interesting. I never even thought about it that way. And that we'll have another one coming up. And fortunately for me, I'm going out to Las Vegas, where I'll be having a Seder with the smartest man who has ever been born in the humanity, and that would be my brother. And he'll tell you that. So, and he'll be leading the service. And it would be interesting to explore this, although I won't tell him that he's conceited in his own belief in his own wisdom. But I think we'll be talking about this. This is interesting. So we can go forward. Anybody else have any other
One more
questions?
hand. Let's
Yes,
just take Eric and then
I got my
go.
hand up. Even though
Okay.
it didn't get taken down this time for, I'd go to, as you know, I've been trying to communicate with you and I'm obviously failing. Uh,
You're
Suggestion
not failing. Why do you think you're failing?
because you reject
Because I
most.
don't agree with you, you're
Yeah,
failing?
thank
Why?
you. Well, yeah, I haven't gotten convinced you of certain things that I think are critical. Anyway, I would suggest trying to go back to find the the videos or writings on persuasion of the late great Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, who just died recently of prostate cancer. And I'll miss him so much. And he was much more gentle and effective, I guess, in persuading people who disagreed with him. And he had a way of doing it in terms of just asking, first finding areas of agreement and then asking them certain questions. And obviously, I'm not good at that.
You mean he's even more gentle than you have been?
I'm pretty blunt. I know. Nature. Uh,
Okay, it's okay.
I, anyway, I really
I'll-
suggest that. And also, you say you're relying heavily on Google's AI, which you assume is objective.
I don't
Don't,
assume it's objective.
don't assume any AI is
Yeah.
totally objective or not captured as the.
I don't assume that.
Okay, but remember, Google is not only one of the companies that has the most assets and the highest income in the world of any entity. And they fired an engineer after bragging about how nice they are to their employees because he dared to thought they had freedom of speech, and he put out in emails just suggesting that And this guy was a very intelligent, educated engineer. That maybe the reason they're debating about women and promoting women and getting more women into the top tiers of AI and so on. Why even the smartest women tend to choose jobs that are mainly involved relating to other people, whereas the smartest guys tend to choose jobs that are involved mainly solving abstract problems. He just suggested maybe there is a genetic component, and he was just fired immediately for that. And Google AI, remember, are the ones who show when you asked for founding fathers, they showed us blacks, and you asked to see popes, they show women. Try to keep those things in mind.
Okay, yeah, I understand it. Okay.
Look at other
You
AIs. I'm
don't-
not
you-
saying any of them is totally objective, but try Grok, which is he claims is trying to it's designed to be truth seeking, and I found it very good so far. And the next version should be even much better, coming out hopefully in March or so.
So I agree with you that you can use more than one of these things, and you don't have to use any of them. I mean,
We
the
use
truth
multiple
is
ones.
we can become critical thinkers without having to use artificial intelligence. All I'm telling you is that it's got some great tools for doing this. Should I trust it completely? I don't even trust myself completely. So,
Trying to draw one illustration, a picture of something that is kind of offbeat or frowned upon, and it just not only refused to do so, but threatened me with a permanent banning. Whereas Grok just showed me what I asked for.
well, there you go. There you go. So what I'm gathering from this is you think that if someone is going to pursue this tack, they should do it with more, either not do it with artificial intelligence or do it with more than one provider.
AI, so you use different ones and see experiment with them and see what you get when you
I think
ask
that's
for controversial.
I
Ask it
think that's a good
deliberately
idea.
controversial questions
I
and see
think
what
that's
you
a good
get.
idea.
It's like bar hopping.
Yeah.
Lynn.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, let's go on.
No, I would, if Lynn would talk.
Lynn,
There's more?
Yes.
Lynn,
Can you hear me?
Barb?
yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So my problem with this slide is that the reason I'm telling myself that this problem or situation isn't so bad or that it will fix itself is that it terrifies me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm avoiding dealing with it, because I don't want to think about it. I certainly don't want to think about the consequences. How is this approach going to help? How is asking the AI to rub my nose in how bad it is and make me even more scared? How am I going to be able to think? If I'm already scared, I'm not thinking. We know that that the intellect shuts down when you're scared. So how is making it worse going to help?
I think that's a good question. Okay. So I think that when you're dealing with something like this, in this particular interest, when you don't even understand, you're ignorant because you're so scared of exploring a truth that you've decided to just ignore it and hope it'll go away. It is good to have a friend.
Yeah, but not a friend that's going to just make it worse for you.
No, hopefully a friend that will gather information and present it in a way that you can accumulate it without being threatened.
Well, but to say that this is going to blow up in my face, that's a threat.
Lynn, I can tell you that I've done several sessions with both Gemini and ChatGPT at a personal level, because I've been told by several of my career counselors that the software, sounds scary, but it develops a profile of you and knows how to handle you in a particular way. And I think you'll be surprised. I mean, it's kind of slanted towards being courteous and being nice to you. It's like if you really wanted to ask for reality, you have to say, be heavy handed with me or whatever. But you can find that your initial communications with a AI on a personal level will be quite positive, I think. I'd be surprised if you don't find that.
I guess my question is, why directly ask the AI to be brutal and try to convince you that it's a real problem? Why not go cut to the chase and ask the AI to help you solve the problem? That's what I wanted to bring up. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Sound like
you.
my dad. Don't complain. Just tell me what you want to do to solve it. That's kind of the classic. Don't whine. What do you want to do? You know, if you don't like what I'm doing, what do you want to do? Or what do you think we should be doing?
Okay, well, Barb, I appreciate the comment, and I think I'll think about it. Okay?
Yeah.
Should we go on to
Go on.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I got one more.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Please look at, I know it's long. I put it in, I sent you an email and some people, and I put it in the link here, comments before this, by an interview of a Chinese American woman.
I looked at most of it. It's quite long,
It is
Eric.
pretty long, but I think it's definitely deserves it because look, she's not politically fanatic in any direction. She's not white or male, or you can't accuse her of being
But
a white.
this is Eric. This is off our agenda.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that's answering, trying to be an honest friend to get you to see a problem that you don't want to face objectively. What's going on in this country? The takeover by she escaped from basically
Eric, let's talk
summarized in a
about that
nutshell. The
offline.
country is
Okay.
being taken over by the true believer thing called now currently called
I read The
wokeism,
True
but it's
Believer
also
in high
communist.
school.
It's
Okay.
it's exactly what she went through. Same thing as you see
Yes,
Eric Hoffer's true believer.
Eric,
Why?
listen to Bob's voice, okay? We can talk about this privately, you and I. It's not necessary to bring it up
Okay.
now, okay?
Yeah, I don't like to type all this, and I'm a bad typist.
Okay.
Maybe if I talk to you or meet you for coffee or talk to you on the phone or Skype, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. What's the next? Anybody else? Okay. So this is another form of stupidity called confident misunderstanding. The Dunning-Kruger effect, a high level of certainty paired with a low level of actual competence. I find this is mine, okay? It happens because the very skills you need to recognize your own incompetence are the same skills you lack, okay? Very interesting. Okay, so let's go to a prompt, okay? Prompt. I have a high level of confidence in my understanding of, I'll say, this is not true, but capital markets. However, I want to check to see if I'm overconfident. Please provide a list of 5, and it goes through this, okay? And when you do this, it's going to make you understand whether or not you actually have a high degree of understanding in capital markets. Does anyone have anything that they think they really have a high degree of understanding of? Anything?
I just want to say that people that suffer from the Dunning-Kruger effect would never do this prompt.
Well, I would do it. I think that if we don't do this, Tom, when AI becomes much more robust than it is now, okay, and if our children and grandchildren do not understand how to overcome their own emotional blockages to any kind of true understanding or wisdom, then we're going to be pretty lost as a species.
I agree, but people who have this effect in effect,
You don't think you have this?
would not do this. They don't realize that they need to be double checked.
Well, I hope that's not everyone. So, but I don't disagree. There are people who would think this is stupid. I know what I'm doing. Okay.
Again, there's a spectrum. There's from those that do to those that don't.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's probably likely that those that don't are more likely to be willing to consider this solution than those that do.
Okay, so that's the prompt. Let's go to the next one. Emotional reasoning. Okay. Okay. So this is, I think, a lot of people have emotional reasoning. They become bonded to a opinion or a belief because of the way they feel. Okay, and not because of any kind of evidence whatsoever. And I like to think that I'm not subject to this, but I know that I am. Okay. So let's go to a prompt. Okay. It doesn't have to be these prompts. These are prompts that are coming from Gemini. Okay. Not Bob. Okay. I'm feeling okay. Um, so I'll be my wife. Okay. I'm feeling very upset and angry regarding the use of masked armadas in our streets. I might be succumbing to emotional reasoning. Please help me separate the felt from the fact. Create a 2-column table. The first column lists the conclusions I'm currently drawing on my feeling.
Yes, the meeting is still going.
What?
It's going to be going
What's that?
noon or after.
You can't hear me?
Page Tom, could you mute, please?
Yep.
It's done.
Okay. What happened?
He was
Okay.
talking about his
Oh,
wife.
okay. So this gives you a way of dealing with this. Okay. Let's go to the next one. There's more. Identified cognitive choices I may be taking, suggest 3 alternative interpretations of the situation. This is good stuff. If you really care about really understanding what you're doing and not just dealing in a strictly emotional way with your life. Okay. Okay. Next. Willful blindness. When a person suspects something is wrong or illegal, but intentionally chooses not to investigate or confirm their suspicions are valid. Anybody ever done that? Okay. If you're currently reflecting on a situation, look for these common phrases. I don't want to know the details. I just want to get it done. If I don't see it, it's not my responsibility. It's probably fine. I shouldn't go on digging for problems. Go to the next slide. Okay, prompt. Act as a highly objective investigative journalist and behavioral psychologist. Okay, here's a description of the situation or issue I'm concerned with. Provide me with a sober, non-judgmental assessment that helps me see the total picture rather than just the parts I'm comfortable with. To do this, please perform the following steps. Identify red flags. Go to the next one. Run the inconvenient truth test. Do a motivational analysis, informational gaps. So I did this with something, and it gave me 7 pages. Okay, but the 7 pages asked some very good questions. Okay, this is a tool. Do we need it right now? Yes, but do we need it? Are we going to need it if artificial intelligence becomes as dynamically capable as it could be? I saw a movie once called Stupidity. Did anybody see that movie? It was based on a book called Dumpf. Okay. And Dumpf is a book which theorizes that people are becoming stupider and stupider. Okay. And the science fiction movie Stupidity is a view of what happens if this continues, and we just let ourselves be stupid and lives our lives being coddled by artificial intelligence. I don't want that for myself or my kids, although I think we might be safer, but we'll be riskier to do it. But let's go to, anybody want to talk about willful blindness? Does anybody think they have any blind spots that they willfully ignore? Okay. Here's one for me. Okay. Um, I I feel. Let's see. Okay. I know that I should go to the gym and work out 3 times a week. I don't want to. Okay. My friend Michael doesn't want to. My brother Steve doesn't want to. And they say to themselves, it's going to be fine. It's no difference whether I go or I don't go. Okay? It's willful blindness. So how do you deal with that? You either don't deal with it, which is what most people will do, okay? Or you do deal with it. This is a tool for dealing it. And all my stances as a futurist is, this is going to become more difficult because telling the truth from what is not the truth or telling fact from fiction is going to be more and more difficult as artificial intelligence becomes a tool that people can use to gain and maintain control. Typing with my index finger stitches is difficult, okay? I'm sure it is. Okay, so go to the last one, which is herd mentality. Okay, herd mentality. So a lot of stuff, I mean, a lot of stuff I believe is because my parents believed it. A lot of stuff I believe is because my friends believe it. My synagogue believes it. I belong to a synagogue, and I don't even believe that Judaism is worth believing in because my herd is my wife who's sleeping in the other room. Okay, that's my herd. So I follow that herd. And I think this is something that we do a lot. Let's go to the prompt. Please provide 2 or 3 strategies, including questions I could ask myself to determine whether I'm compromising parts of myself to fit in with a group that I'm in. Do we think that takes place? So we can stop here and just ask questions, but there's a whole litany of more stuff. And it's all going to come out to you when he publishes the information out to you. And it also gives you the 7 pages of information that were given to me when I used this prompt to ask about willful blindness to Gemini. Yes, Dan.
I think groupthink is what you're talking about here, is what it
Yes.
says.
Yes.
David has his hand up.
Okay. David?
The solution to willful blindness may or may not be adopted by the people who have the problem, but they will get to suffer the consequences if they ignore the problem. The same thing with science. The people who don't really believe in science are welcome to their opinion, but the opinion doesn't change reality. The reality will come back to bite you.
So let me ask you a question, David. Do you think that it is likely? It's certainly possible. So, do you think that it is likely that artificial intelligence will become a powerful tool that will be used by people who have power now to curtail our critical thought?
It's possible, but I don't consider it likely. No, I think it's a lot more likely that we will commit societal hara-kiri, as you were talking about.
Okay.
What's the difference?
But if we don't commit yeah, I think it's possible we'll commit societal hara-kiri. But if we don't, okay, then what do you think? Do you think it is?
Then certainly there are groups among us who would be delighted to use AI to influence the rest of the society to advantage their own position.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, I'm pooped. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I just like to go back. I missed. I didn't write down one of the forms of stupidity, the one right before willful blindness. Which one? What was that one?
It would be emotional reasoning.
Oh, okay.
And this is
And
going to come out. This will come out to you when I don't know who
Right.
publishes. Stan, I think, publishes when Stan publishes all this. I wanted to do this without videos. It might have been more powerful with videos, but the trouble is, it would be nice if we just didn't have always just videos, and talking, and videos and talking. So I thought I'd try it. I don't
Yeah, I
think it
like
would.
your slides.
It was good.
Very good.
Okay. So I'm going to go speak to my boss. My grandchild is here, and they have been extraordinarily quiet. So I'm going to have to go tell them how appreciative I am. Take care, guys.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Bye-bye.
Okay, what's next, David?
Carol next week is going to be doing a presentation for us. Is she still
Carol,
here?
what's the
Yeah.
presentation
Carol?
about?
You want me to talk about this?
Sure.
Okay, my presentation next week is going to be about the use of gene editing and biologic drugs to come up with cures for diseases that up until now we have only had palliative resources to work with. And I am definitely going to be adding to that things that I have talked about in the middle of this presentation. The fact that there is more than one kind of human nature. And that we are right on the border of being able to fix what I see as a major problem with a small percentage of the human population.
Okay, I'd just like to make a further comment on what Bob was just talking about. It was an interesting presentation. He seems maybe kind of like me. AI will have good aspects and bad aspects, and how that'll affect humanity in general in the future is a good question. It can be very helpful as far as helping us cure diseases and that kind of thing, making other technological advances and so forth. Bob was concentrating on helping us understand ourselves better. And that might be occurring, but I think it also can be used to deceive ourselves. And there's a lot of that going on already, deep fakes and all that kind of thing. So as AI users at this point, we have to be very cautious and cognizant of the possible ways we could be deceived or led where other people want us to go. So it's as far as what will happen in the future regarding the relationship with AI and humanity, I think that's still pretty much, very much up in the air. I think it can be very helpful. And if we have a more direct connection, you know, the brain-computer interface type thing, that can be a good thing, but it also could be a bad thing. We could end up as, you know, slaves to the AI, or it could be a great help to us. So I don't know what other people think about that, but it's going to be an interesting next 10 or 20 years.
Tom, you think it's true that cats really can't dance to the music?
They probably respond to the music in some way or other.
All those videos.
I don't watch cat videos, sorry.
No, it's on Facebook.
Yeah, those are all loops that people, anyway.
Yeah.
Stan, go ahead.
I actually sometimes feel slightly guilty about using AI because it does give me such great outcomes and solves a lot of, I mean, I'll do a search for a music editing question that I have, or a 3D studio, or a Blender question, or any kind of a question, and it gives me excellent answers. And I'm thinking, gosh, how much power am I burning just on trying to get this thing to give me these trivial questions that I'm asking? I feel guilty about burning a lot of smoke into the atmosphere just for my little pursuits of knowledge versus, you know, what could be really doing something to change the level of our existence, existentially types of issues.
Here's one question I have. If enough people give enough of the same types of prompts to AI, are we actually training the AI in some way? Do we influence the AI?
Yep.
In
Without a
general, at
doubt.
present, the answer is no. When we get to a more general mechanical intelligence, then the answer would be yes.
You
The
guys are
AI doesn't generally remember all of the questions that are asked of it, usually, unless it's programmed to do that.
I think you're living in that dream world we've been talking about.
Tom?
Dan, don't worry about the amount of energy you're using to ask questions. I'm sure that's a noise variable in the number of people searching for videos of whatever.
Huh.
As you get older, you're going to find that it's even more useful.
Yeah.
for memory purposes.
Well, I use my phone I mean, I take photos of my phone when I'm in the parking lot at the VA so I can find my way back when I'm coming back out.
Yeah.
I leave my car.
That's a good idea.
And so, I mean, I'll, you know, my girlfriend slaps this product down, take a picture of that and find that product when you get to Aldi's or Cub or Walmart or Walgreens, whatever.
Yep. Very helpful.
Carol?
Carol.
Yes, I thought at this point I should throw in a couple of obligatory science fiction references. I'm sure you're all aware that the idea, the notion of the singularity was created by a science fiction writer named Werner Vinge, Vinge.
He can have those
This
concerns.
was not something that computer science came up with, except perhaps that Vinji's okay, his science fiction books were almost a hobby. What he did for a living was be a professor of computer sciences at
Hmm.
what, Berkeley, someplace in
I
California.
think it was Berkeley.
So it's significant to remember that it was created by a computer scientist, science fiction writer. And on the notion of emotions and AI, I always recommend that everybody go back and read William Gibson's Idoru. Idoru, I think is how it is spelled.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, he's talking about a future in which Japanese schoolboys are falling in love with artificial intelligences online who are pretending to be girls. And you have this wave of upset and repressed young men who are totally ignoring real girls and spending their love and admiration on artificial intelligences.
Used to be called Playboy. I want to tell you that the second version of the posting of the PowerPoint that Bob gave me that I just posted is the more recent one. And also, if you're saving the chat by itself, it doesn't save files like PowerPoint. So if you want that, download it now.
And I was not able to download it when I tried to download it. I'm not sure why not. So maybe if we could.
I'll be posting it with the video that I submit. And I don't think I think I've got 8 people on my Futurist list that I send out every time I post the video. I think everybody here is on there, but if you've not been getting a weekly email from me with the posting of the video, you might want to send me your email address and so I can add you to that list. Eric,
Dan, you might also just attach those 2 versions or 1 version to that email when you send it out. Then people would have it.
Okay.
Carol, I sent you an email last night, I believe, with a link to an article in Wired that might be appropriate for you to look at before you do your presentation next week.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
David, are you able to save the chat? Because I'm not.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Doug,
Good.
you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just, when Carol was talking about the science fiction, I really believe that. And for me personally, as a kid growing up in the middle of South Dakota with no electricity or anything, and reading the Sunday paper and believing that Dick Tracy was someday we were going to be talking to the watch on our arm was a reality, and watching Buck Rogers fly from different planets, I still believe is a reality. So some of it was happening way back in the 50s. So it's interesting to see how some of these things really do come true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the picture phone at the 1964 World's Fair in New York, I remember seeing the picture phone and they gave us the impression it was just coming within a few years,
I have another meeting,
It
so I have
did.
to go.
Well, quite a few
Um,
years in practice for most of it.
That was 68. I
What, when
had it on my
people had
desk
the
for about
picture
a month.
phones? I think I just got,
Picture phone, yes.
I
It was
didn't get
very
one.
bad.
Well,
It
I don't
was
know.
very bad.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna
2 weeks is
call.
going to be the future of mental health care, presented by me. And the last comment in my chat is Ukle Itwe is from the adolescence of P1, which was a very early artificial intelligence story made into a very bad movie.